That went way better than I thought it was. Welcome everybody to episode number 3 of the Burnout. Yep, number 3. And this week it's all about what happened at Daytona. We had a lot of big stuff going on with Daytona this week, so yep, and let's go ahead and get right into it. First things first, of course, Ricky Stenhouse winning the Daytona 500. Honestly, kind of crazy, and I didn't really expect it, but it's not like it was a fluke either. He's been up front for a lot of the super speedway races, and then, of course, his other 2 wins came at super speedways, so it's like, it was a surprise, but honestly, it's kind of fitting. Kind of like Michael McDowell's win in 2021, because he was running up front at the Daytona races as well there, too. Overall, it was a great race. Dare I say, it might even be a little bit better than last year's race, because it wasn't as chaotic as last year's race. There wasn't many crashes until the very end, and even then, there wasn't really that many. I think there was only like 2 or 3 crashes at the end of the race. It was the longest race, however, in the Daytona 500's history, which honestly kind of surprised me because I thought the race was pretty short. Probably because usually we see a bunch of red flags, and this time around we didn't really see any. So, yeah, but overall, it was a great race. Pretty clean racing. The only problems was, of course, was probably the first thing was how anticlimactic the finish was. I do feel like Suarez's caution with like 3 to go kind of was an artificial way of bringing more drama. I feel like they could have had some, because we could have had a good battle brewing with RFK and RCR with their 2 cars, but NASCAR was too trigger happy with throwing out the caution. Even though Suarez was below the yellow line, he could have easily driven away. So, but overall, yeah, it was a good race, even though the finish felt kind of scripted, honestly. I feel like Kyle Busch kind of got that win taken away from him because NASCAR wanted to appeal to people that have less than a 2-second all because NASCAR wanted to keep the attention of people that loses attention after 3 seconds of non-wrecking. But yeah, overall, it was a pretty good race, and Ricky Stenhouse definitely pushed it at the right time, and he managed to score the win with such a late pass on Logano. So, good job, the 47 team, you did it! But overall, there were definitely some things to talk about. Of course, the other bad part of the 500, of course, was, you know, Fox. This time around, they decided to put 1 million different commercials into the race, and it's like every time there's any sort of slight issue, they decide to make a long, giant commercial break. It was like 10 minutes of commercials for 5 minutes of racing. It was kind of pathetic. It's like every single time we see just ads.
I need to try.
And more ads. And more ads.
Whopper.
It's like they probably played like the 20 or so commercials they had probably like 17 times during the race. I feel like it's Fox's way of trying to twist people's arms into getting a subscription service to have ad-free racing. So, but I mean, come on, Fox, you're better than this. But yeah, I feel like the 500, aside from Fox's broadcast and the kind of fabricated finish, it sort of gave me a little bit of vibes of the 90s and 2000s NASCAR racing at like super speedways like this. So I'm glad that this car actually functions great here. So next gen's just beautiful at the super speedways. So yeah, that was pretty much it with the 500. I think some other big things to talk about were the different drivers. Of course, RFK and RCR were fantastic in this race. Keselowski and Buescher worked together. Busch and Dillon worked together. I feel like if he didn't have that last caution with Suarez, I feel like we could have had a great battle of 2 great teams with 2 drivers that have still yet to win the 500, Keselowski and Busch. I feel like if NASCAR just let them cook, they probably would have put on a fantastic sort of like Dale and Dale show for a finish. We could have had the Brad and Kyle show. But of course, we can't have nice things in NASCAR anymore, so we got to have all this fabricated NASCAR overtime now. I mean, come on. Because I feel like NASCAR kind of threw the caution out way too quickly. They probably threw it out like maybe 2 seconds after Suarez spun out. So they threw the caution way too quickly just to create an artificial finish. But still a good finish, just didn't really feel really worthy. But yeah, other than that, yep. RFK and RCR were fantastic. 2 fantastic teammates that worked really well. Other drivers, Bubba Wallace. I know, I kind of feel like I have a little bit of a bias to him, but he is fantastic at the super speedways. I mean, he was in the lead, smacked the wall, fell lap down, managed to recover, back up to the lead, then had to go back to the pits because he wasn't going to have enough fuel. Fell a lap down again, recovered, made it all the way up to the top 5 on the final lap before he was wrecked out. So, I mean, the dude can easily, like, just tear through fields like paper. That's why I thought he was going to win the 500, because, like, even if he is stuck in the back, like, with 15, 20 laps to go, he's easily going to be able to make his way back up to the front, and at the very least manage to get his way up into the top 10 or even top 5. Almost was there until he got caught up in that late wreck, so ended up finishing 20th. But overall, yeah, fantastic race. And then lastly, Alex Bowman was a pretty silent threat throughout the race. He started on the pole and was up front for a big chunk of the race. I thought he was actually going to sneak through and score that win. But nope, I think he got caught up in that late wreck, but still managed to get into the top 10. Along with Riley Herbst for some reason. How did that happen? Man. Alright. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Daytona 500 stuff, everything I really had to talk about. I don't know if I missed anything. So before we get moving on, we got the other stuff about Speed Weeks and some other things as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Turn on notifications as well for more Burnout episodes, as well as some other videos. Random Cuts 25, it is so close to being done. I just want to make a couple more so I'm satisfied with it. Because the intro goes on for like 5 minutes, so I want to at the very least make the video 20 minutes long, because I want to give you guys enough content for waiting like almost 2 years for this video. But yeah, and then of course, since we are done with our 3-week sporting events, we got the Clash done, Super Bowl done, Daytona 500 done. We're going to be returning to our Roblox streams on Sunday. So yep, we're going to start at 7:30. So then Eli's got more time to play with us before he has to go to bed and go to school. But yep. And then, of course, we will be returning to our regular Burnout schedule with every single Wednesday. So, hope you enjoy. All right. But anyways, let's move on to the Speed Week stuff. Of course, we had the other winners this week. Zane Smith winning the truck race, which was rain shortened. I didn't really catch much of the race because I was kind of doing some other things. But overall, yeah, it was pretty good. For the most part, until the race got shortened out. But Zane Smith repeating at Daytona. Same with Austin Hill, managing to win his second Daytona race in a row, beating out John Hunter Nemechek and Justin Allgaier for the win after a late crash, which led to Sam Mayer flipping over. So that's one of my predicted 2 blowovers this season in the Xfinity and Truck Series. So let's hope we keep it to 1 for the rest of the season, guys. Or else they get half a point. But yeah, aside from that, with the Xfinity race, I was kind of surprised JRM didn't pull through and got that win. Because all 4 of their cars were in the top 5 in the closing laps. And then they just managed to fight each other and all blew it. Brandon Jones getting spun out late in the race. Of course, I mentioned Sam Mayer flipped over on the last lap. I don't know if there was... I think there was like a tire issue with Josh Berry, and then Justin Allgaier just fumbling at the end. I don't know if he got punished for forcing Nemechek on the WL line, but I don't think he did. But overall, yeah, JRM, hopefully they're going to tie up their loose ends soon, because if they want to get those 10 wins I predicted, they better shape up, because we don't want, like, 4 drivers just fighting each other like that. But yeah, and then, like, the ARCA race as well, Greg Van Alst winning was pretty cool to see. And then the dual winners were Eric Almirola and Joey Logano, even though I didn't really catch too much of the race. Aside from Kyle Busch and Daniel Suarez getting into a little bit of a heat. Don't be surprised if we see Kyle Busch and Daniel Suarez get into a little bit of a battle. It's a little bit of a rivalry, because Suarez got in the way of Busch twice this week. Man! But yeah. Aside from that, of course, I mentioned Alex Bowman won the pole for the 500 again. Pretty cool. But also, something I noticed was that the lack of pre-qualifying practice kind of got in the way of 2 drivers. Connor Daly, I don't know how to pronounce that, and Chandler Smith. Fortunately enough, Daly managed to get into the race. Austin Hill didn't get in the race, but Chandler Smith didn't either. Mainly because they couldn't really put in a good qualifying lap. I think Smith's car sort of crapped out in turn 1, so hopefully NASCAR learns from this and gives these teams actual practice before pre-qualifying. Maybe like a happy hour-esque. Maybe tune their car before qualifying. Get a good run going. So, yep, that's pretty much it for Speed Week stuff. And then I only got 2 things really to talk about that did not involve the Speed Weeks. First things first, Todd Gilliland has been demoted to a part-time gig, which is honestly kind of stupid. So Zane Smith could make some more starts in the 38. He did make a start in the 36 in the 500, but I mean, I don't blame Front Row Motorsports because Zane Smith is probably the best driver they've had in a while for winning a Truck Series championship. Even though Todd Gilliland could have easily won the championship and got screwed over by the playoffs, it looks like Todd Gilliland does have rides with Rick Bear Racing for majority of them, except for the Spring Talladega race. So I'm really hoping Gilliland finds a ride, but that kind of sucks because they really didn't give Gilliland a real chance. They didn't really give Todd Gilliland the real chance. So, but hopefully he finds a ride, either with Front Row or with a new team in 2020. That was in 2023. Hopefully a new team in 2024. But we still have yet to see. We only one race in the season, so we don't know what to expect. And then lastly, Chase Elliott. I usually don't talk about sponsorship stuff, but this honestly was kind of hilarious. Chase Elliott is now a member of the Coca-Cola family for Hendrick Motorsports, which is a team that's almost entirely dedicated to Pepsi. Pepsi is not on this plate. Is Pepsi there's a little Pepsi on there, but yeah. A team entirely dedicated to Pepsi for the past 20 years is now a Coke team, which is honestly kind of stupid, but still insanely funny because I feel like everything that had Pepsi before is now being completely erased. I know a long time ago, Wendy's used to have Pepsi products near my house. Now that's Coke. Arby's had Pepsi products. Now they have Coke. And recently, like 3 weeks ago, Culver's, which was almost entirely dedicated to Pepsi products, is now running Coke products. Why? Pepsi is so good. Can I please go to a place that has Pepsi that isn't Taco Bell or KFC? Is it that hard to ask? But yeah, that's pretty much it. Enough of a Pepsi rant, but yeah, Chase Elliott now a Coca-Cola driver, along with his rival Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano and Kyle Larson, because I think the whole Hendrick Motorsports is now a Coke family, which is kind of silly. I mean, Jeff Gordon was a Coke driver like in the early 90s, but I don't know, man. And before we go, we are going to talk about my predictions for the California winners. The final races on the 2-mile configuration. Rest in peace, All Club Speedway. You will be remembered as a pretty good 2-mile track. And of course, the Daytona scene in Ford versus Ferrari. But anyways, my predictions are going to be for the Xfinity race. I'm predicting we're going to be seeing the runner-up from Daytona win, John Hunter Nemechek. In the number 20, getting his first win with JGR. At least this year. I don't know if he got a win in the previous seasons. I have no idea. And then lastly, for the Cup driver, I'm going with good old Chase Elliott. Yes, I think he had a really good run going with him last year until Larson put him in the wall. But hopefully this year he's going to go on. But hopefully this year he goes on to score his first win in his hopefully championship season. So, yep, that's it. John Hunter Nemechek and Chase Elliott. Don't let me down. Especially you, Chase Elliott, because you're my random fantasy pick as well. So yeah, that's 3 episodes in the books. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe, like, turn on notifications, and I will see you all next week to talk about the, not Las Vegas race, the California race and how it went. And hopefully you got to see some more news as well. Even though I had literally nothing else to talk about, we still managed to make it to 20 minutes on the recording. Probably only about 15 minutes after post-editing. So thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye! 360. I don't wanna fall off, but yep. Goodbye, guys. Oh, okay, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna fall off. Yeah!